All right, so we're going to be opening some packs of the Wilds of Eldraine. I haven't played Magic in a few months, so this is my first time getting back in since the Lord of the Rings set. It's been some months. All right, Call of the Ring at the beginning. It's a good one. All right, let's open our first 3 free packs of Wilds of Eldraine. Let's see what we get. Cool, we got a Mythic Rare Wild card. And we get Rotisserie Elemental. Whenever it does combat damage to a player, we put a skewer counter on the elemental, and then we can sacrifice it. If we do, exile the top cards of our library where it's the number of skewer counters on the elemental. You can play those cards this turn. That would be an interesting card to test and see how it does. Grabby Giant. This looks pretty cool. Sacrifice an artifact or a land, draw a card. Create a treasure token. Very interesting. Stab wound, enchant creature. Alright, so that's good if you wanted to burn somebody out for life, I guess. Got Beanstalk Worm. You may play an additional land this turn, so that's a little ramp card. Alright, Dream Spoilers. Whenever you cast a spell during your opponent's turn, -1. Okay. Interesting. Whenever an enchantment you control is put into the graveyard from the battlefield, your opponent loses 1 life. Interesting. Whenever an enchantment you control is put into a graveyard from the battlefield, create 1 black rat token creature. That creature can't block. You can also make the cat gain Death Touch until the end of the turn. Interesting. So there's probably some cards that really synergize with those. We'll find out later. We have Spectre Orb of Mortality. When Spectre of Mortality enters the battlefield, you may exile 1 or more creature cards from your graveyard. When you do, each other creature gets -XX, -X until the end of the turn. X number of cards exiled this way. So you can exile as many creature cards as you need, I see. And then the board wipes. So if you exile like 4 cards, 5 cards, very interesting. Then we got the Giant, Galvanic Giant. You draw 4 cards. That's crazy. Then discard 2 cards. So this is a big, well, it's a giant, so it makes sense. It's 7 drop. And then whenever you cast a spell with mana 5 or greater value, tap target creature opponent controls and put a stun counter on it. Okay. Stun counter. So this is a big control deck. I don't know what type of long game you would want to play there in order to get that strategy off. We got a white enchantment here, Griffin Airy. At the beginning of your end step, if you gain 3 or more life this turn, I remember this one. This is a older card, I believe. I remember. For some reason, I do remember that card. Shrouded Shepherd. Creatures your opponent control get -1/-1 until the end of the turn. When Shrouded Shepherd enters the battlefield, target creature you control gets +2/+2. Okay. Destroy target enchantment. If a permanent you control or token was destroyed, please draw a card. Break the spell. Interesting. Territorial Witch Stalker. At the beginning of combat on your turn, if you have a creature with 4 or greater power, Territorial Witch Stalker gets 1/0 until the end of turn. It can attack this turn as though it didn't have Defender. Okay. And we got Merfolk in here. Coral Smith. 1 mana. It gets a +1/-1 until the end of the turn. When it dies, you get to scry 2. Definitely not a good card. As foretold, at the beginning of your upkeep, put a time counter on as foretold. Once each turn, you may pay 0 rather than pay mana cost for a spell you cast with mana value X or less, where X is the number of time counters on as foretold, which you put a time counter on at the beginning of each upkeep. Interesting. I would like to see how that would play out. Destroy target non-land permanent. Its controller creates a 1/1 white human creature token. Stroke of Midnight. That's a very interesting one. Raging Battle Mouse. We got 2 rares in this pack. Lucky pack. The second spell you cast each turn costs 1 less to cast. And it has an effect called Celebration. I'm not really familiar with that. At the beginning of combat on your turn, if 2 more non-land permanents enter the battlefield under your control this turn, target creature you control gets 1/1 until end of turn. If 2 or more non-land permanents entered. So that can be a creature, enchantment, artifact. Okay. Interesting. We've got Ego Drain. Target opponent reveals their hand. You choose a non-land card from it. That player discards that card. If you don't control a fairy, exile a card from your hand. So it's for a fairy deck, obviously. We got Ventress Transmuter. Tap target creature, create a cursed roll token attached to it. I don't even know what a cursed roll is. Cursed roll is when you enchant a creature to give it base power, toughness 1/1. And if that creature has more than one roll controlled by the same player attached to it. Okay, interesting. Now we've got Unassuming Sage. When Unassuming Sage enters the battlefield, you may pay 2. If you do, create a sorcerer roll attached to it. And the sorcerer roll gives your creature 1/1 and has, whenever that creature attacks, scry 1. Okay. Witch's Mark. You may discard a card. If you do, draw 2 cards. Create a Wicked Roll token attached up to 1 target creature you control. Alright, interesting. So those are the 3 free packs that I got for Wilds of Edraine. I'm going to do another video on a sealed draft, so that way we can get more familiar with the cards, and hopefully you want to look at that. If you do, make sure to subscribe, and thanks for watching.